Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and I have a more clean and simple Halloween card to share with you guys. So for today's card, I start off with some Nina Solar White 110 pound cardstock that I had cut in half and then scored at 5.5 inches. So it's a top folding A2 size card, so 4.25 by 5.5. And then I have this Too Cute to Spook stamp set from Reverse Confetti that I showed in a haul a couple months ago, whenever it was. And I took two of the images. I took the hat from the set and the pumpkin, and I'm just stamping it onto a sticky note. And then I'm going to trim these out with my scissors. You can use masking paper, those sorts of things. I just had the sticky notes handy. They were sitting on my desk. This is kind of like old school masking. We used to always use sticky notes. And you can get sticky notes now, which again I have, but they just weren't sitting on my desk, that have that sticky adhesive like on the whole back of the sticky note, so you can use the whole thing for masking, which is great. And if I remember, I will link to those in the description box below the video. But I just trimmed both of these out with some detail cutting scissors, making sure to trim right on the line. That's the best way to create masks for your images. Do not cut outside the lines. I always prefer to cut basically right on the line. So I die cut some pattern paper, and it's from the Tailored Expressions Build a Scene Halloween that I had shown again in a previous haul video. And I die cut a couple with some My Favorite Things fishtail flags stacks before I started making this card. And I was going to use them to kind of create the ground for my main images. And then I just laid out the stamps from the set kind of on my card and kind of built my scene. You know, I had an idea in my head of what I wanted to do, but I just laid the stamps out to give me kind of a visual cue of where I wanted to place everything. And then to start this all off, I stamped the pumpkin first and then masked it off so that anything I stamp on top of the pumpkin is going to look like it's standing behind the pumpkin. And then I had masked off the hat as well to make things easier so that I could stamp the cat, and the area where the hat is going to go, his little witch's hat, isn't going to get covered in ink, so it's not going to have lines through it. So kind of got everything placed where I wanted it so that I could just stamp the cat just like so. And then when I remove the hat mask, that area is now blank and didn't stamp, so that I can stamp now the hat perfectly placed where I wanted it, and there's no lines through it. So just a way to do, you know, some clean and simple stamping without dies, because I don't have the coordinating die set for this, so that was part of it too. So I wanted to stamp everything onto one layer. So after I got everything stamped, I grabbed some really pale gray ink. This is Grout Gray ink from My Favorite Things, and I used that to stamp the little web stamp randomly here on the card. And then I removed that little pumpkin mask. So now you can see the web and the cat are behind the pumpkin. And then as a fine little afterthought, I also stamped that little bat just because it was so cute. So I had to add that to the scene. So to color in these images, I first was going to do Copics, but unless you use a really light hand, I find with even with this 110 pound Nina cardstock, Copics can still seep through to the back. And since this is a one layer card, you can see in the inside. I didn't want to bother with that. I do know generally Simon Says stamp their 120 pound white cardstock. You can usually color it with Copics and it will not bleed through at all. But I wasn't thinking and just use this. So instead of using Copics, I decided to pull out my Polychromos colored pencils. And I'm using those with some Gamsol. I will have a link at the end of this video to my original Gamsol video that I talk about the artist grade mineral spirits, this jar that I use, all that kind of stuff, because I do get a lot of questions about it. So I'll have a link to that at the end of the video. But I've done another video recently showing that yes, you can use the artist grade odorless mineral spirits with Polychromos pencils, even though these are oil based, they're not wax based like Prismacolor pencils are. But the odorless mineral spirits still work. And yeah, it is up to personal preference. When I show videos like this, I do get a lot of feedback, a lot of negative feedback from people, because these are very expensive pencils. When it comes to card making, honestly, I don't subscribe to the theory of being, you know, an art purist where everything needs to be super, super high quality. It's card making. You can use whatever you want and still get great results. You can use Crayola pencils, you can use Prismacolor, you can use Polychromos, like whatever you have, you can still get some great results with. Now, if you're a full-on like artist and working on like real forms of artwork that are going to be displayed and you want the longevity, that sort of thing, yes, you do want to go with higher quality pigments that are more light fast, etc., etc. But for basic card making, do whatever works for you. I personally, because I love to color so much, I have no regrets getting these pencils. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I love them, love them. But what I like isn't for everyone, obviously. So there's my disclaimer for this video, just because I do get a lot of feedback from people. So I did fairly simple coloring, not a whole lot of color layering with this, and then blended it with the artist grade mineral spirits. And then as a final little touch, I grabbed my Spectrum Noir Clear Sparkle Overlay pen and went over the little skull banner and the bat and the hat and just a little bit of the pumpkin, just to add some fun sparkle. And because these are colored pencils and not watercolor pencils, the clear overlay does not affect it, doesn't reactivate anything. The only thing that's going to move that color around is something like the odorless mineral spirits. So hopefully this shows on camera just how sparkly it is. It's subtle, yet when the light hits it, and here I'm using my cell phone with the flashlight, it just gives it this fun sparkle. So just a little extra something something on an otherwise fairly simple card. So once I had all the coloring done and my sparkle added, I started adding adhesive, and I had die cut another little banner from just some purple cardstock, and I had stamped and embossed a sentiment from the stamp set, the same stamp set, with clear embossing ink, and then embossed it with detail white embossing powder. So of course this Too Cute to Spook, that was just perfect. And then I adhered all those to my card front with some ATG adhesive, and then I just flipped this card over and trimmed off the parts that were hanging over with my scissors. And then for the inside, I had die cut 2 more of the little flags from that same pattern paper, and then just finished off the inside of the card by stamping these webs multiple times with this Grout Gray ink, and then decided to stamp a little cluster of them in the bottom corner there, and then stamped the little spider from the set right on the web. And then I'm going to quickly stamp the sentiment from the set that says Happy Halloween. And then I didn't want to leave that spider just hanging out there with no color, so I just quickly grabbed the same dark gray I used for the bat on the outside of the card and quickly colored this little guy in, and then blended that together with the Gamsol odorless mineral spirits. And I was going to be done at that, but I wanted to add just one more little thing. So I grabbed my Ebony Black Nouveau crystal drops, and I just added light little dabs to all of the eyes on this image. So the skull eyes, the cat eyes, and the little bat eyes. And again, it's just a subtle little thing, but it gives them that shine and that little bit of raised dimension. So I'm just kind of liking, you do a clean and simple card, but then it's got these extra little elements to take it to the next level. So that is it for my card for today. I will have links below the video to my blog post, links to all the supplies used. All that info will be in the description box below the video if you guys are interested in checking those out. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribing, thumbs upping, and commenting on my videos. I really appreciate it, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye!